Yeah, we're ready. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Any additions to the agenda? Christie,
None.
Ernie?
I got an update from the health board.
Karen?
None.
Was Amy, she on or?
She is not, I don't believe she was going to be.
Oh, I thought you were calling in.
I do, I just have to, I forgot to add the October 24th special meeting to the agenda for approval.
Do we have a hard copy
The
agenda?
yeah,
Yes, I've got one. No, there's one. You got one? Is there one here?
I actually did that one.
Huh?
Want me to go on, let me go. Another
I'm
agenda.
sorry, I don't have one.
Okay, no. Where did it? Sorry.
This is my health board stuff and that's the day.
Morning, Doug.
It's good.
We're on hold for a minute until we get some paperwork.
Oh, good, I don't feel so bad. Thank you.
Yes.
So what did you add?
Health board update.
We'll give an update on that jail meeting. Any other additions? Now we'll call for a motion to approve the consent agenda, pay the bills, and approve the minutes for the October 17th meeting.
So moved.
And October 24th, you'll have a copy of that? Okay. Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
I
Opposed, same sign, nothing carried. Employee time.
Looking for permission to advertise for dispatchers again, 2 openings still, so we can fill the first one was open, we had additional ones since then. Sorry, have a head cold or something going on, so
You got 2 openings, Phil?
2 openings to fill, yes.
So we had approved one
You approved the
prior,
original one,
you just need another one?
yeah,
Okay,
so, and we'll advertise for both, because we only had 1 applicant, so we're trying to get a better pool, so
okay,
hopefully, I don't know.
okay. I would make a motion to allow Brent to open 2 dispatch positions.
2 dispatchers, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Oh, we'll call for roll call vote. Karen?
Yes.
Was there any other discussion? Nothing. Christie?
Yes.
Ernie?
Yeah.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
I do have one question. How many dispatch do we have then total on board right now?
5,
5. So Crystal's been having to fill in, I take
Yeah.
it, or,
yes, yeah, so Crystal's still certified, so she fills in.
okay,
So, but mostly just 1 dispatcher on at a time, so we don't double up too often, so
okay.
it's easily. So hopefully nobody is ill.
Right, right. Do we have a backup plan in place yet, or we're still kind of looking?
Well, I mean, we can, you can cover quite a few hours with just a few bodies, but they're like only for so long, so otherwise, Pembina County is our backup.
Hmm.
But they're, they don't have a lot of employees either, so they're not, it's,
Mhm.
so, and then just the other thing is that you asked me to check into Grand Forks at one time, and they are not interested in assuming any other counties. They said they can't hire and keep enough staff to keep going what they're supposed to keep going, that they don't seeing bringing on another jurisdiction at this time would be of any benefit to them, because they just have to hire more dispatchers and they can't fill what they have, so.
Who did you visit with, Brian, about that?
Their director who took it to they have
Was that
a
Shannon?
board. Shannon
Shannon, okay,
Blaze, yeah.
okay. Because I understand that the city has the dispatch and the county contracts with the city.
Correct. They're city employees, but they have like a governance board that I think is made up of the city and the county and UND police and Grand Forks Fire that kind of governs the whole thing. But it is a budget through the city and they are city employees.
You got any more brainstorming on how we can put this together?
So I know I met Cavalier County and I met with Motorola to see about tying our system somewhat together, which they think they can do where there would be a rollover where, like, so we could push the calls to go to Cavalier or they could push calls here, but that part of it would probably work, but at the moment, we don't have a real good simple solution on how to actually dispatch for each other, like page, she doesn't have access necessarily to my paging and my CAD system. I don't have access to her stuff, so we don't have the same radio frequencies available to each other. I mean, there are some, but not. So, we have a meeting tomorrow, a different meeting, but both Karen and I are, so we're gonna visit some more to see if we can come up with some solutions or whether we wanna try something or not, or where we're gonna go with that, but before we push calls to each other, we have to figure out what we're doing with them when we get them. Because,
Right.
The system is set up where, like if our 911 center went down, you can forward 911 calls anywhere, but it's when you get those 911 calls, what can you do with them?
Mhm.
If you can't dispatch anybody after you get the call, it doesn't do you any good to receive them, so that's the part we have to figure out, and part of that will, if we ever move to the new radio system, some of that will take care of itself, but we're not there yet.
How far away are we from that? Cause like is Grand Forks on the new radio system or not?
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically the big, Grand Forks, Minot, Williston, Dickinson, Bismarck, Fargo are on the system.
but they just haven't put our small.
They don't have the towers up in place, you have to necessarily provide the coverage, so. So at one time, by the end of this year, we were supposed to be on, that got pushed to the middle of next year. I'm not sure that we're gonna make it by the middle of next year. You might have mobile coverage, but I don't think they'll have very good portable coverage, so.
I mean, we put money into the system already.
Yeah,
Correct.
we've been paying for several years and
Yeah, and are these radios gonna be outdated by the time we?
Well,
get to
that's,
use them?
So, the concern that I've had is that, they keep telling us and they keep pushing, they want everybody to buy their radios, so they can figure out how much money they gotta reimburse, but it's like. I've had Minto's had radios sitting on their shelf for 3 years already,
Right,
because they can't, The sheriff's department they bought dual bands, so they've been using theirs, so they're using the VHF part, but by the time we go to the 800 part, they'll probably have to start replacing all the radios.
this is,
Those were expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily right, but you get, because radios are no different than computers anymore, they're basically little computers, so how often you switch out a computer, they're on about they don't last 20 years like the old radios used to.
so the state required us to do it,
Mhm.
but the state is not carrying their end of the deal then by getting these towers up. and
You gotta be
getting
careful how
replaced?
you say the state required you to do it,
Well, okay,
you didn't have to, but you'd be the one or two jurisdictions in the whole state that didn't jump on.
We'd be
it.
like behind.
Yes.
so we didn't have much, we didn't really
You
have.
didn't
a
really have,
choice.
you didn't have a very good choice in the matter, but
But now they're not getting their end of it done and
Well, and-
there's money out there.
and I'm not, we're all pushing for them to do it, but COVID and everything else has played in where they've. They can't get generators in for shelters and they can't get this piece of equipment in, so they end up behind and then they end up. So they're struggling too to try to get done. Their intention was to be a lot farther than they should be, but they've had several delays because of not being able to get stuff and. Equipment delays and,
Look at us, the culverts and everything else, everything just, you can't.
yeah, it isn't, it isn't,
On purpose.
yeah, it isn't, I'm not. Gonna say that, well, they just aren't doing
Mhm.
we wish they were moving a lot faster and we're providing us some better dates, but. like I said, they've had a lot of issues, and then as it gets drug out, then you start getting turnover, so, we've. The person at the state who was kind of leading part of the effort is switched, that's changed, so now you've got a whole new person trying to learn and play catch up, so it just adds to the problems.
I'm just waiting for it to happen and you come back and say, well, our radios are outdated, now we have to buy new ones.
So, well, I haven't seen that officially, but the radios that we're buying, supposedly Motorola is continuing them and moving to a different model.
Well, that's the list.
Which is, no different than buying your cell phone, it's gonna last you for 3-4 years, and then, if you wanna keep up and get the latest updates and everything else, you gotta go buy a new one, and that one isn't even an option anymore, $300-400 more for your phones, and these are $3,000-4,000 more.
Technology is advancing way too fast.
Was Jason coming?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
wondering where.
All right, anything else, Brent?
no, those are the head right now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You want to?
me to yell at Jason? I don't know.
Sure,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, I want to give that health board update.
Okay, we had a health board meeting last week. He got a grant, remember he was asking for that extra mill levy for a part-time nurse? Well, he got a grant and there's gonna be a switch there and stuff. So with that grant and everything else, he sent me an email, the funding breakdown like this for 2024, the mill levies was like 16,600. And a supplemental PHEP grant for 56,000. So the total would be 73,141, and the total cost at $28 an hour, 32 hours a week is 72,118. So you'll have enough money to cover, there's gonna be some switching there, somebody's gonna be retiring after December, so. So, I don't want to mention any names, but that's why he come up with this at the last meeting. And the other thing, and I think, Karen, I think you're aware of this, that grant that the state's coming up with, this sort of $8 million, that statewide grant.
That mental health one?
Yeah, Alan figures we can use that funding for our Agassiz moving forward, and that's what he's gonna put in for.
That's why we're waiting not to get an update about the mental or
Mental deal, but I just figured you guys should know and stuff, you talked about it at the meeting.
that COVID money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very good sign if we do get the jail to pass through or whatever, that grant, we can use that money to fund the Agassiz. Cause otherwise I said, where are we coming up with that 200, what, we got one more year left?
Yeah.
I think we're on our
So-
last year,
And
right?
I just wanted to inform you that he mentioned at the meeting, he's applying for it, so I hope it goes through.
Yep, what's the gal? Is her name Heidi? No.
Heidi, yes.
Him and Heidi have been working
Yep.
on it, so that's why we haven't had any kind of update on.
Yeah, and I asked Alan before if I could include you guys in,
Actually, they're working with opioid,
right,
the
Opioid
opioid
stuff.
settlement.
but that was a very good news if we can get that money for that program. I still can't believe nobody's jumped on board and done it more in the state just besides us. I mean, you look at what that program's doing here for us, I think it's been successful,
Well, maybe they have,
no money.
well, like we would use Northeastern, maybe they have
No access to someone.
more access to someone to do it. We don't, we have to wait for 3 months to get anybody in to have any kind of counseling or anything.
I think that's a problem statewide though, the way.
Yes,
it's
yeah.
And I think the smaller ones are the ones that get hit, you know,
All right,
oh, that's in the boonies sort of.
well, I'll give an update on the jail. We met with the Samuels group, it was last Thursday,
Yeah.
and they have the whole floor plan model, which included all of our needs and all of our wants. Well, the bid came in just too high, and we're going back and trimming off some of our wants to get this a little more compatible. We're also meeting with the Elevatus group, I think on the 14th in Grand Forks. Went for a second bid on the. But we just didn't feel we could bring it to the public at this point because it was just too high. Everything fits the way we want it to, but like I said, the cost was just too expensive, so we're. Like I said, trimming off the wants. But yeah, otherwise the plan looked,
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
yeah,
Why are you meeting in Grand Forks? They can't come here.
I don't know, he lives in Fargo or meet him halfway, I guess, I don't know. Well, it was like, I never did hear. Yeah. But they're the ones who went down toward that jail in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they were quite a bit cheaper at that time, but like they said, all of the jail equipment has gone up 400% in the last year, so it's way higher than we anticipated. All right, Jason.
Good morning.
Good morning. Do we want to go to the Gabriel's deal?
I was gonna say, let's see, that we can let them get out and get back to farming.
Yes, I'm playing them.
I'm playing.
Your little dump truck.
Yeah. So with the K-Bros permit that they had, they did a utility permit and it said they'd be boring power through the road. That was signed up, we approved that, and then the drain tile was actually bored through underneath the road as well, which was not part of the permit. The company that they have that was subcontracted from Legacy for doing their boring didn't come up and do proper measurements of how long the line was gonna be. So they dug up right in the inslope so they could make it fit because their pipe they brought was 20 feet or 30 feet too short. Because they just went out to Google Earth for a measurement and decided that's what they needed.
That's what these pictures are.
That's what these pictures are. So at first, when they came in, it was really rough and they were just doing the install. They did fix it up a little bit better, so it actually will drain now. So that part's there. The thing of it is, from my standpoint, is those guys were told, the contractors were on site, were told they need to stop until we figure some things out and then they could finish. So that's,
The tile company?
yeah. Yeah. So,
If I might add, the tile company told us that they had talked to you, Jason, and you were gonna make them stop. And then they talked to you some more and they said, well, you can keep going. That you gave them, go ahead and keep going.
I told them, they said they had a problem at the point, where if they didn't fix it, it was gonna swamp all the road. So I told them they better fix that, so they didn't have that problem.
Just for the record, can you guys introduce yourself?
I'm Louis Cadillac, part of Gabriel Farms, it's my brother John.
John Cadillac.
We farm together with Gabriel Farms.
Yeah. So I did tell them that they could open up that hole to fix it, so because they said they had a leak that wasn't leaking into the pump. So I told them they could fix that, but don't do anything else. And they just wanted to do it.
And I talked to Tyler Hansen from Agassiz yesterday on the phone, and he said 2 to 3 weeks before the work even started, he talked to you just to make sure everything was approved, everything's good to go, and you told him it was.
I told them we had a permit, the utility permit, but I did not know anything about the line going through. So
Because the maps that we sent you guys, it shows going through the road, so I'm assuming you guys saw that and you signed off on it.
we had some movements that have those lines on it that aren't even supposed to be there at all. So on the utility permit just says the electrical, it didn't say the water going through.
So the permit only covered the utility, the power, but there's how big of a drain tube?
I think it's 6 inch going to the underneath the road. Here, I think no more than 8, I think. I think it's 6.
6 or 8 inch.
Yeah, I think it's 6.
So can we go back? Or what do we do?
I guess for this standpoint, I mean, it's just a small misunderstanding on that part not being part of it.
That's what we.
You know, but the biggest thing from my standpoint is the tile company just going and doing on the inslopes and doing stuff where this is part of what we need to work with on all our utility permits to make sure that we can't have this again. Because they're digging way up in the inslope, up by the asphalt. So if they don't get that compacted, which none of these guys,
Yeah.
compaction's right.
But you were under the impression that it was gonna be a drain tile also.
We were under the impression everything was good, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and
Both the utility-
misunderstanding, that's just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, okay.
You know, maybe from point on now with your permits, maybe have like a checklist saying,
We're gonna, yep.
okay, is there, you want to grow, check the pool.
This is the first time we ever had something tiled.
And I'll be honest with you, just, we had somebody in here last week about digging up through our roads and everything, these tile companies, they're more concerned of getting the work done.
Oh, I know.
And sometimes they put you in a spot and everything, and it's not your fault, so I think, yeah, I think we've got to, like you guys said, maybe a checklist on this thing, if it's electrical, you check here, if it's water through our road, you check here.
Right.
Cause like you said, those permits are there, and some of those lines, I can look at them and I really don't understand them at times, and the water board looked at it too. They okay that, so, yeah, I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding here.
Yeah,
And Jason, if you want, if there's spots on that ditch right now, if you want to touch that up, we sure will.
I think we're okay now. From when I was up there, as I looked at it, said everything's rolling, everything seems like we're okay. If we need to do some more compactions, yeah, we'll work it out.
Yeah, that's good.
But, you know, just be great.
That'll show up in the spring, after the thaws and everything.
My biggest concern is when they are worrying about how close that they got.
And I agree on this, they were,
I mean, they were way up.
yeah, they were slow.
And it's.
I was like.
Close to what?
Close to. The actual road.
Okay.
Well,
They were.
you look at some of these companies when they sublease it, I think the Rusty one, when the internet went on, when Polar did they one and they put it on the wrong side of the road. You know, they subleased it to that company. Easier going this way than following the map, so they did it.
Right.
You know, it happens.
Do we need to do anything to rectify this or just?
I don't know if we just put if I can just put a note on a utility permit. It's the first one of these I've had come up like this, so if we just put a note on our utility permit that adds that a water line was bored through the road as well. Just so it's in there.
Add it on the permit, so it's covered if somebody wants to look at it.
Right. So we have everything, all the paperwork is there, the project is done. These guys, I honestly believe, I thought they had everything taken care of. We worked with the permitting for drains before,
Yeah.
never had any issues with it. And in communications with Lewis and different things, it's just, you know, on this one, I think that their contractors got carried away.
Put something on the permit that was updated and then have them sign it, so it's all updated such and such date and everything's okay.
Shouldn't it be the contractor's responsibility to have a copy of the permit from the farm? And not just call a highway superintendent and say, okay, is everything good to go?
Well,
I mean, they need to bear some responsibility.
And Tyler Hansen from this too, he says, you know, the contractor, they just can't go on board where they want to, they thought a permit.
No, they should
They
be
got a
looking
permit,
at that document, and if they don't have, they're the ones who should get the hand slapped.
Totally agree with that.
And Tyler Hansen did reach out to me, I have an email that for my response to him, and his email response with me, a couple weeks ahead of time, was wondering what the highway right of way was, so they didn't put it inside the right of way. That's what he is looking for,
I think when
and
we're
that's
done,
the information I gave him.
I think when we're done, we need to send them a little bit of a letter. We just can't let this slide. And like I said, they're in a hurry and everybody, all these towns, look at,
And like you said, I mean, they just want to get their job done.
we saw with the one guy last week and we held him off to a spring because they wanted to go through the road. Well, then he come up with a different idea and wanted to do it, and I said, no, don't push your luck. We don't want to duck through the road in the winter or like fall.
Well, and I spoke with the owner of Vegas, the day I was out there, and he said, well, you're gonna cost me $10,000 a day, and I said, I've been a subcontractor before, and that's not my problem, from what I said. You guys didn't verify this stuff, and you guys are doing things, your son went way out for where he wasn't supposed to be, that's not my problem.
I think what you need to do is write a letter and back to them and just tell them the response we did and it wasn't their fault and you lucked out, we've got it done, but none of it's gonna happen and maybe either Danny and you and sign it or whatever and send it to them.
Yeah.
Give them a warning.
Oh, I appreciate you guys coming in.
Yeah.
No problem.
You know, I want to get this cleared up once it's.
No, I'll back up Jason, has been an awesome guy to work
Yeah,
with.
Jason's been great.
You know, it's like, it's super, you know, text, phone calls, letters, a long ways.
Biggest thing is communication.
There you
Yep.
go.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
well, move on.
Thanks.
Thank you, appreciate it.
God, I thought we could make it sweat a little bit this morning, didn't
So,
Yeah, it's just getting a hand.
yeah, I was late coming up because I was talking with townships that had issues with things and wondering what we're going to be doing with the permits and the process in the future. So it's becoming more of an issue up there where they have the same issues where we've talked about, where they've cut across the road doing drain tiles and not come back and pack, so now the township is stuck with the drops and they're gonna have to come back and fix them.
Do you think we should have a meeting with the township, Jason? just get them all in here and update them a little bit and talk over and see.
We could, I mean, we probably.
I think it'd help.
We could do it at the annual meeting.
At the annual meeting, I think that's.
Or whatever, yes.
Definitely need to put on the agendas.
Yeah.
And that's easy to do considering the secretary of the township association, so I can make sure it's on there. So we can have those discussions with them.
Face it, and I'm not picking on township guys, they're busy with their own farms and everything else, and they're not really keeping up on everything, and all of a sudden, somebody goes out and does something, and, oh, they didn't even know about it.
Right.
But yeah, and the trouble is most of these things, when it happen, we don't really have any repercussion.
We have no penalty.
Right, and I don't know how we change that.
I mean, all the water that they're adding to the system, how are our culverts along all of these county roads gonna keep?
Well, they're not gonna resize, well, they're looking at the resizing on 15 now,
But it's
for
part of,
example.
part of a water board, complaint, that they're taking a look at 15 and 8 down by Vestal, where did we have to increase the size of the culvert?
So how big do we go? Cause I mean, hey,
No, the
10
stuff
years,
that-
we're gonna be doing it again.
Yeah, well, and that's my biggest concern with it, is, okay, so they're gonna, if they upsize, if they come back and say we have to upsize their culvert there. We have to upsize our culverts from
All
there
the way down the line.
Yeah,
until we get to the river. And then what? If the river doesn't have any capacity, it's not going to hold it, so we're just gonna flood somebody else out. You know, the waffle effect is something for holding back water on everybody's land. Everyone needs in the spring, needs that extra 3 days.
Tell me how that works out.
Yeah,
you know,
I know, but nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it. And everyone just kind of gets forced on it. You know, if you're out from the bottom end and you're right next to the river, you get forced on it. Yeah,
I was surprised when you bring that up, Kremlin's doing that one that's with during 70. Which one is it? That one that's gonna send water to Calhoun?
that's not, 70 is the one that comes down.
Well,
That's-
but they got, what is it, 4 quarters, a section there that they finally got the guys and they're gonna hold water.
You know,
It works. If you ever go to Minnesota, like I said, I've said it many times, you bring the water in slow, you hold it there for a week, the water goes out slow, it doesn't wash out anything, and those guys are in the field just as quick as anybody else, and they're renting the land for, well, it was 10 years ago for $300 an acre, because it was water and everything else. I'm going, why can't we do this in the valley?
Mhm.
Bring the water in, hold it.
Yeah. No, it's, well, the river's, when the river has capacity, it moves it.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't have the capacity, it's not going anywhere.
And guess what? That river capacity is gonna be a lot slower, because when it comes from Fargo, it's faster in Grand Forks. It's gonna sit here longer.
Yeah, but they're putting in holding facilities on that.
Well, they are, but it's still gonna,
Because they can only raise. They can only dump so many cubic feet back
Right.
into the system.
Yeah.
So they're. That's part of that process.
Is that what it is on each side of the interstate?
yep, when you get by Harvard there, that's all through the channel. But the trouble is we still got somebody pumping from the west sending more water to us.
Yeah. All right, let's go on.
The next item I have is request to rehire a sign foreman. We lost Chad Arndt to the private sector. He's getting the same insurance we did, and there's no way we could have touched the salary limit that he got. I'm very happy for Chad. He was a very good employee for us, but it's a lot.
Is there a motion to allow Jason to rehire?
So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
I have a question. So we put on that additional employee previously
Yes.
with the thought that we were maybe going to lose an employee.
For retirements and things, yes.
Do we still have those same thoughts
Yes. Let's go ahead.
soon?
Yes. I've basically been hearing that we have people that are waiting for the time for their security and their insurances to hit, and that's when we'll be in the filings. So, people have been with the department for 45.
We have to do it 2 or 3 in a hurry.
Yeah, I was just talking to one yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And with this sign foreman position, we've changed it up where the foreman will not be going anywhere else other than the sign truck. Their responsibilities will be the sign truck and snowplow. That's it. If we have to pull them off for something, for an extra, for a big project or something to grab a truck, otherwise this person will be solely dedicated to our sign. In that process.
So we probably don't do any signs in the winter.
Oh, we will,
Yeah.
We will be, you can.
Yeah.
You can do
we
that all
can still be
winter long.
doing straightening and replacing signs in the winter with our unit.
And it's with the unit, it can be a one-man job.
Yes.
Yep. Unless they're a big sign, then they gotta
Big
take.
signs and winds, then they have to have somebody else, but most of the stuff should be able to. Most sorts of signs are the smaller, ones, everything, we have plenty that need to be replaced and updated and. You know, just even going around to some of our bridges and cleaning stuff up with that. The sign truck can do that with a boom and we can get out, cleaning some trees, remove some different stuff. But we have plenty of options for to keep that truck moving if we don't have some.
So I guess my next question is then, okay, so we hired this additional employee previously because we have a feeling someone's going to be leaving. So when that someone leaves, then we're not gonna be looking for another employee. Because we already have this one.
Well, that's that,
That's the thought. Okay, I just want to make that clear. Okay.
We don't wanna add to the. Right. The system, but
I mean, typically, we don't hire prior to a retirement. You know, that, this is pretty,
the one that I talked to yesterday would like to see. Somebody come on so he can train him.
Yeah.
You just don't throw him in these positions and let him.
Right.
I can understand that, but I also understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
we're paying. Another
Paying a double salary.
6 months,
Yeah.
double salary.
But part of the reason we did it is too, is because we had the money left, because we were short for a long time. And now we figured it was with the retirement and everything coming. That's,
And there's
and I get you, Christie, but yeah,
Their salaries all come from the highway distribution fund.
Right.
And some from general funds. So,
and now I'm just worried because we're gonna lose a lot of
Yeah.
talent, experience and everything else. And I really think we gotta get them in and do some job training to some of them, especially if they're young and never did anything, you know, we don't know where our field is gonna come from. We're lucky the last two were really qualified and had a lot of experience.
It's the dedication part that I worry about.
I think the last two we hired will be okay.
from what I understand, we have 3 people internally that are all interested in applying for the position.
And it goes back to the same old thing. Look at how many we've lost to the state in the last couple of years. When you talk about dedication, you can't blame them for going $5 an hour more or whatever they're getting in health. They said we can't compete.
But one thing though, the employee I talked to last night was the PERS deal, was a big factor.
Yeah, no,
That's a,
They're getting it. They'll be
they are,
getting it.
but
Yep,
new ones,
the new ones are gonna be.
after the 20,
but they will be getting a contribution. Whatever they want, if they contribute, so.
Any further discussion on the rehire? Now we'll call for the vote, Christie.
Yeah.
Ernie?
Yep.
Karen?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried.
Thank you. The bridge updates is, we'll have 3, the inspectors are supposed to be here today. To inspect County Road 6, County Road 8, and County Road 19. All 3 of them. Today, the contractors were starting to do the removal of the bypass in Portville. Wasn't gonna hold them back when we need that gone before spring and with the weather that we're looking at. So that stuff will all start coming out and those 3, are supposed, like I said, they're supposed to be inspected today. I haven't heard from the inspectors if they're here or not, and we can open those roads up.
So 19 was the work like you opened up today.
Today.
Wow. That's something.
That's an amazing, that project went fast.
Yeah, Swinging Construction and Glidden did amazing for us.
I told Jason to start putting an application for the 2 bridges we didn't do yet. Just so you did.
Well, we have 2 bridges that were supposed to be bid out in October, that if they would have been, these guys could have possibly gone right into it. But DOT has such, congestion with the stuff that they're doing with their bridge group and personnel, we're not able to bid that until January now. So, you know, some of those things we could be working on removals or some of the other stuff would, this winter, but, or at least getting materials open, but we're delayed from that. So it was supposed to be an October bid, then it was November. And when we went to Sioux Falls, we found out that it was gonna be January. So,
So when we talk about bridges, you wanna sort of give an update about the Harrison Township and why?
yes,
I didn't know it until he told me this, and I'm going, well,
So Harrison Township, has spoken with me multiple times over the last year and a half about some small minor bridges that they have, the under 20s that they feel are falling in disrepair and need to be replaced. And they're right, they're on the list of things that need to be replaced. Harrison has plenty, Walsh Center has plenty of them, Prairie Center. You pretty much just pick them up, pick everybody in that area between Grafton and Minto. And they have a lot of minor bridges in that area that they're coming to the end of their life cycle. We replaced one of the bridges this year in Harrison Township with a 5-foot diameter, 40-foot long culvert after we did the hydraulics on it. The other ones we're looking at, they're on our radar to do them. We're just finding the funding and the timing to get to it. With the flex fund that's out there right now, I don't know if we're gonna be successful for it, but I am going to put in a countywide application so that we can replace a lot of those smaller minor bridges with culverts. There's a safety aspect to it because they don't have the widths when you're turning from a narrow township road to a narrow township road and trying to put it on an 18-foot bridge, 18-foot wide bridge with semis. It's a safety factor. So I'm gonna try and push that and get some more funding from the state through the flex fund to remove some of those minors, make it better, and the one from Harrison Township would be part of that. There's plenty of others out there that we can do this, but we have to have the hydraulics portion for it. It's basically mandatory. If you do not do the hydraulics for it, and you find out that you size the culvert improperly, and you cause damage to somebody else, it's a Class B misdemeanor. And it's also liability for all the damages and the repairs for everything else. So the sizing of the bridges, the culverts and everything, that's something that has to be done. And there's no way around it to do that.
What does the township pay for that?
The townships, if they're doing it, they pay for them. If they take care of it. Otherwise, if it's a bridge replacement, it's something that's part of our bridges because we're responsible for them. So we pay for the hydraulics, which can be up to $5,000 per bridge. And
These are over natural streams, not drained.
natural streams, drains, there's not many that are under our miners on the drains.
Okay.
But it's mainly just the township roads and the miners, just your ditches and those things. Standard road pre-crossings that aren't always having water. When all these were going in the 50s and the county was building themselves, it was easy for them just to go in the pile and build a bridge and put it back together. They had a lot more staff. Well, at that point when they were doing this, from what I understand from talking and the equipment. We can accommodate the same things by putting the culverts in there that can last us for 75 to 100 years. And walk away from them, the same as what the bridges do, and not have to do as much maintenance. The one in Harrison Township, being we had the culvert on hand, being we had a semi coming with the culvert that same size, we had to put an extra one on. That culvert was $7,700 for the one culvert. So we had it come in, when the guys got the time, they ran out and did it, and with that 4-man crew and the bridge crew for permanence, they got it done in 2.5 days. And that was complete rip up, repairs, compactions, and fine tuning. If we would have fine tuned it, it would have been done in 2 days. But
I got an email from Harrison Township too, that they wanted it done right away. If you gotta do the hydrology and everything, you just can't go do it. I don't think they understood it.
Yeah.
And that's why Jason got the same one. I said, respond to this. I said, I don't think they're understanding that. We just can't go because they want to remove them and we just remove them. No, there's consequences after you remove it, liabilities and so on.
So we're doing the work, but the township's paying the bill?
no,
No,
We
we're
pay the
doing
bill.
it, we're paying the bill. Okay, so are we still following our same rule of you just can't repair everyone at every road?
Yeah.
yeah,
They have to pick and choose.
yeah. Yeah, we're picking and choosing.
Okay.
So that's one thing that I've noticed a lot too with the way the flex fund and the township assistance program are rolled out from the state. They're kind of going back to the century code where they're telling people to pick a corridor. Because they know that they can't afford to do everything. So we're basically looking at where the state's kind of telling people, pick your corridors in your townships, pick your 2 main ones that you're gonna go, when you're 6 miles by 6 miles. Pick 2 main ones you're gonna make sure open all the time that are north-south, Pick two that are open all the time to go east to west, that join the county roads and state roads. Focus on those, so that you have that type of thing, and then after you get those, then work out through the rest. And that's kind of the way that they're looking at doing it, and it's actually Century Code that you're supposed to have these corridor systems. And just with the financials that everyone has, the increase of costs and everything, that they're forcing that issue to go back to the corridors for the townships. And that's something that we'll have to address at the annual township meeting as well. I've spoken with a few of them already. Just in passings with different things, but it's the way it's gonna have to be in the future. And in the way the future is with the state funding, is they're gonna have to be at 18 mils. If they're not at 18 mils, the township cannot apply for the flex fund. They have to be at 18 mils.
How many townships do we have at 18 usually?
While we're 18. I think,
We're trying to be frugal and yet they're penalizing the tax more. I don't,
I can't remember, that was only like 12 or 13 that are actually at 18 mils or above. We have a few of them that are max. They've gone and done the work to, that they're maxed out. That's all they can do. Take it for the vote and they're doing what they can do to try and upgrade and do the things they need to. But there are also some that are at 4% or 4 mils, not 4%, they're at 4 mils. Well, now with this extra funding, if you have to be at 18, you're not just going up a small increment and hitting the people in your township. But if you want to try to get any of that funding, you got a large jump. You gotta go for a vote over 5%, I think. I don't think so. It could be years before you're going to get there, unless you can get the vote to do it. So there's gonna be a lot of townships that are gonna be handcuffed from this.
they're gonna be almost like us with their bridge inspections. We'd like to do it on our own, but we can't afford it, so where do you go?
Well,
So it's the minor bridges, we're in, this part of my next part, we'll do that with the flex, we'll do those, put the county line over with cash, we'll try and help pay for those culverts, see if we can get some of that, even have some on a drain with the water board. Try and get some funding for that one as well, so we can replace that bridge with some big culverts and go through there. I met with the water board last week, we've come to an agreement that we're just going to give me the hydraulic information from Houston Engineering. And then we're gonna run forward with it, so that we can make sure everything else is designed and ready to go. So we can order culverts and have them here for spring with a 60-40 split on it. So that as soon as we can get that thing opened up, so we don't have another year where don't have it covered. But we need to get that open back up. That's an artery.
Road out there.
Yes. Well, every use.
How is your bridge inspections coming?
For our small ones, our under 20s, we're having issues with it. The GPS systems that we have that showed where they were, they're not there. They're altered in different places. So the guys that have gone through 4 townships and not be able to find the different spots. So right now what we're doing is we're going through these 150 that we have to verify that are our miners for the Upper Great Plains transportation study that they're doing. And they have an iPad with them. They're going through and everything where there's dots, we're going to hit those dots first and see, is it there? Is it not there? Has it been replaced with the culvert? We're focusing on everything between 8 feet and 20 feet. That's where the study is. And then after we get those, we might just have to go back out and take care of things and go and do some more. We're actually going and taking a look at what do we have? Where do we have it to get it actually GPS so we know its actual location. And that's something I've talked about in the past, where if we can do that and we have the culvert sizes, it'd be instrumental for us and water board to know where our culverts are and everything is, so we know where they are and have it aging. We can actually get a system in place for monitoring, taking a look at them. We haven't done any real inspections of our culverts, from what I understand from talking to the guys, in probably 15 years. So the culverts that we're responding to are just showing up, and we're having to be more reactionary. So that's something we have to take a look at in the future, is making sure we're not reacting, that we don't have one of our main roads go down and have an issue because of a small culvert went on. because we haven't taken a look at it for a while. But one of the things that we have to put on our list of things to do, if we had an open winter, that would be great.
Ryan said he went to one of those bings or dings or whatever, there was no bridge there, he couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Took him a couple hours to find where the bridge was.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
actually 2 miles away.
Yeah.
So it's almost to the point where I just told them, Ryan was up sick and Logan and Jeremy were in my office yesterday, and they're like, what do we do? I said, take this iPad that shows you where all of our bridges are for our over 20s that are inspected, and this is the program that shows where these unders are. So you guys reading that map, the way I printed them out isn't working quite right for you guys. Take this, go out with this, hit the reds. If you see a black one and you can mark it, fine. So they went back out with that, and I haven't heard back from them, so it's a good thing. But it's a daunting task what they had. They're frustrated with it. But I reached out to Upper Great Plains and talked to Kelly and told them that we're working on it, but we're running into issues because it's not, the stuff's not there.
And why do they want it? Upper Great Plains?
Upper Great Plains has been told to put in charge by DOT and the legislature to do a study of what counties and townships need for funding. So they did that one biennium ago where they came up with that we needed $17.1 million to maintain the level that we are for our roads, bridges, and gravel right now, asphalt or gravel, just to maintain. That's what they came back with, Walsh County needing $17.1 million. It's impossible for us to come up with that, even with the House Bill 1505 and the Prairie Dog funds. I mean, that was $7 million. So it still only puts us half the funding to even get to close to that. So this is just a way that they're gonna try and find out for the minor bridges, the 8 to 20s that haven't been inspected and haven't had anything taken care of, to see what are the true needs of those bridges. So it's a way to kind of force townships and counties to get out and inspect what they have. And see where we're at and the things. So while the guys are out there taking a look at some of these, we can also see if we have anything that's a huge hotspot where we're gonna have to get out and.
I hope when they get done with the study, they use it and believe it.
I hope so.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's all I had for you today, unless you have anything else for me.
Well, snowplow truck's ready and rolling.
All the wings are officially on as of last week, and we're ready to go back out. We need the gravel to freeze up, so we can put the snowplows on the trucks on the gravel. This heavy wet snow, and then we had a blade go down, so you cover 270 miles with 4 blades on a normal basis, and you have one go down, so you're down to 3, and the guys worked with each other and helped out and flexed around, so Danny and Bob came this way and helped out with this way to help cover Eric for a little bit, and then Eric got up, and then Danny's blade went down for a depth filter, so it was an expensive week last week.
You know what that depth filter costs?
Yeah.
$5,000.
We had to buy 2 for filter.
And that's why we made the difference between Cat and John Deere in this last bid. That was one of the issues. The extra we got, John Deere, you don't have to, but Cat, it's a $5,000 deal, and then you put the new one in and pay for it.
So those 2 both went down, and then the mechanic had to come back and look at Bob's new one, from Cat. Is it has a leak. They've already come and replaced the seal on that new one once, and they're looking at it again. So we may have to replace that seal a second time in the transmission. So,
That's under warranty still, isn't it?
yes. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
under
gonna be nice temps and it's gonna dry and
freeze.
freeze. Well,
I don't think it's gonna freeze off.
not much,
Not the way it looks, no, but we can get it to dry out.
but at least it'll dry out.
Yeah, I've had a few people ask me if we're doing, what we're gonna, from township, if we're gonna try and get any gravel or what we're gonna do for, the sugar beet harvest.
Bottom road?
With the bottom roads. Our semis and stuff, our trucks are pretty much switched over for winter, but if it dries out enough where we're gonna have something, we can take a look. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes either, because I don't wanna go and put this gravel up there and then throw it on the ditch.
Yeah, with the blades, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just.
Stuff is really hard on roads this weather.
It's like a brick, isn't it? Some of those hard spots after harvest were like bricks.
Yeah, there's a couple of spots where, well, Danny had to go across it 8 times to get the mud broken. Before he did it was, it was hard, I mean, it was almost like driving across concrete. Where it was very difficult, because the blades were out and they were getting as aggressive as they could. They were getting all frustrated.
Irrigation, a lot of people got.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, jeepers, this is North Dakota.
Yeah,
Well, sometimes when you have to be someplace.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jason. When you have to miss medical appointments, it's,
Yeah.
you can be impatient.
well, that's, you know, that's the thing too, is there's gonna be less contractors out
Yep,
there that do the snow removal and blades and
What townships?
other townships. Last year, there was a time from when the storms were between around like construction and Kevin Mutter and our staff, we cleaned 28 of the 36 townships. With 4 blades for us, and you think they have 3 or 4, but it takes a while.
Yeah.
People aren't happy about it, but one of the things people have to understand is the county takes care of the county roads
Yeah.
first. And we'll work through ours, and then we'll go and help all the townships winging and clearing. But the township roads are not our responsibilities, and it's, I've had to clear out my road in the winter many times, so you can get to it.
I think most farmers
yeah.
clear their own township roads, right?
A lot of hours.
Not always, but most do.
But most do. I know we do in our area. If we want to get out.
Bus routes and stuff too, yeah.
We used to.
So,
Oh,
but not everybody does, but there are a lot of people that go out and do that, so.
All right, anything else for Jason?
We're living in the country,
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Okay.
Break time?
She give you that food?
yeah.
Tax appraisal hearing. Everybody get a copy of the delinquent tax rate?
Yes.
What do we have to do here?
Look at it.
Every morning.
Schedule the sale for the next.
Dale, don't you tell us the ones that are paid and cross them off?
So this is up to date as of this morning. I have Linda look at it this morning. So these are the ones that are still
Not paid.
not paid, yeah,
But they can come in until
up until the time of the sale,
of the time.
10 o'clock, the morning of the sale, they can pay it.
10 o'clock on November 21st,
Our next meeting.
we'll begin the sale. Christie will be doing the auctioneering.
This is back, Christie, right?
Well, you can sort that.
Yes. And this is a sale, the minimum bid, I believe is what we're doing right now is deciding on that the sale amount will be the starting bid for each parcel.
Sale amount, okay, all right.
Yep, I believe that is my understanding of it,
Okay,
And hopefully some of them come in and pay before.
yes.
which does happen, doesn't it?
Yes, I think, I mean, couple of week, it seems like it has been, so,
Lo and behold, Mike Paterka used to wait the day before.
You know,
Oh, he always.
this represents 3 years.
3 years, correct.
So to retain their property, they don't have to pay 1 year up.
No, now it's to the point where they have to pay even prepaid,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, as well as special. The specials and everything, so they won't have property tax, so.
3 years delinquent plus they estimated for 2023 plus the special for 2023. To keep,
Is that something new? that they did?
no, we've done that
Was it?
for
I don't
a
remember.
long time.
But I mean, the owners themselves that are 3 years late, they can just pay 1 year up. No, they've got to go back.
Yeah,
If they pass that date,
Okay.
they've already passed 3 years up, so.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
that's part of Walsh County's policy.
up until a certain point, they can only pay the 1 year to
Yeah.
get off of the list.
Okay.
But now that deadline has hit October 1st, so after October 1st, then,
Okay.
yeah,
Learned something new again today.
Mhm. Yeah, okay. Do we need to do anything else with this other than?
I don't believe a motion, no.
I don't think so.
We have no one here to contest it.
Correct.
We move on to Ed.
Good morning.
Morning.
I've got one abatement this morning, and I believe you all got my investigation report for Paul Burnson. For a parcel in Sylvester Township where the family has been commercially cleaning seed in the past. Adding value to their product. So the original true and full value of this parcel for 2023 was a land value of $7,385. Structure value of $24,750 for a total true and full value of $32,135. Up until this point, a small commercial land value as well as a structure value was assessed to this parcel due to them doing some commercial cleaning of their seed. Mr. Burnson came in and claimed that they are no longer doing commercial grain cleaning just for their own use. We met, Sylvester Township Board met a week or two ago, discussed the matter, and the board agreed that Mr. Burnson is no longer doing commercial cleaning. We did discuss with him the fact that if they do begin to do commercial cleaning in the future, we'd have to add it back on. So the Township Board did approve the abatement application. And I also recommend that the commission approve a motion to approve the abatement, reducing the value to just a farmland value of $6,385.
I would make a motion to approve that abatement application from Mr. Burnson.
Do we have a motion? Is there a second? I'll second it. Ernie, second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. Karen,
Yes.
Christie?
Yes,
Ernie?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, motion carried. Abatement of the approved.
Just an update on, I know Chrissy brought up the House Bill 1158, was that the right one, about the residential property tax credit next year? I did start some conversation on our assessors association, and there was been a few things mentioned, like at the Association of Counties Conference, but there was nothing in stone yet, so everybody's waiting on pins and needles to see where it's gonna go. They wanna get word out with tax statements for running out of time.
So we're waiting on the state.
The state to direct us
Yeah, okay.
what their procedure is gonna be, and then I guess we'll have to figure out from there what our role is gonna
Have
be.
you heard anything from that task force lately?
Nothing. Correspondence we had yesterday said that nobody's heard anything since Association Counties, and that was just a kind of an informal. They were gonna take some feedback and go back to the state tax department and work on it some more, but as of now, nothing.
So talk to our local representative.
Well, it's in the state tax department towns now, I mean, they're the ones that were. Figure out how to.
Figure out the administrator. And then when they do, they'll shove it out to you and give you a month to do it.
Well, that's
Well, it gets put inside the tax statement.
It does, but the application process. and
Oh, I
certification
understand that.
is gonna be-
I don't think that's gonna change at all.
It's gonna be cumbersome, no, I'm afraid. But we'll see,
so we still don't know if the state or the county is going to handle the application process.
it's through the state, but I know that's.
We know that county will be.
Especially when it's all online, there's gonna be a segment of the population that will not have that available to them,
Mhm.
so I don't know.
That's where the local section.
Yeah, and that's fine, I mean, it is what it is, but you just have to be prepared, just wish we would have a little more time to prepare, but.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I would say that, when people call, that you would, first thing you do is suggest if a, family member could help them file it online.
For sure, that's gonna be a suggestion, but there is a segment of population that doesn't have that.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Mhm.
And there will be residents that won't even file for it. So, but it probably will be increased the next biennium too, so.
It's sort of like the Medicare, Medicaid, there's certain people that don't understand it and don't know where to go to get help. And it can be overwhelming to them too.
For sure.
All right, anything else?
That's all I had, unless you have something else for me.
Thank you, Ed.
I,
Thank you.
Carrie.
I believe Chrissy gave you kind of my notes from last year to kind of give you perspective.
Can you just give us 1 second to get to those?
Yeah, sure.
You guys all faster than me, you know?
I had it.
I'm on the sync, so it goes pretty fast.
Well, what I'm coming to ask is permission to outsource our December tax statements, basically. And it's a big job to print them in-house, lots of hours spent, as you can see from what I wrote up, just to kind of give you a picture a little bit. And there, of course, is a cost for doing it in-house. So to the best of my ability, I've worked up kind of a cost comparison to show you and what it would cost to outsource it. And honestly, I feel like we'd actually save money and be way more efficient if we outsourced it. Plus, it's just the pain we're going through in our office right now with our conversion of our software. And even though, thanks Ed for bringing up what potentially is gonna happen to us in January, February, March too. I mean, we're just too few people trying to do a lot of things and we're struggling. And so I'm just like, I really could use a little off my plate in December, and I'm just hoping you guys will consider allowing us to do this year. Probably, hopefully, just maybe this one time. I hope I can say that, but just to give us a little reprieve and asking for help.
But just for a little background, with the Tyler software conversion, I had met with Christy and Sherry and Ed. And it is taking a lot of extra time for them to work on this software conversion. So I was asking them, you know, what could we look at to take off their plates? And one of the things that came up is we started talking that we do outsource our estimated tax return.
Yes.
And Sherry was saying, you know, we've got this big job of the tax returns coming up now. And I said, well, if we outsource our estimated, why don't we outsource our mailing?
Yeah.
So we started talking about that. So I asked her to get estimates. I actually kind of planted the seed for her. So this isn't something that she just said, oh, I'd like this off my plate. I suggested it, so I wanted you guys to know that. I think it's something we do need to look at. They're putting in, you know, the staff is putting in a lot of extra hours just to work on this Tyler software conversion. I wish that we could find something for Christy as well to take off your plate. But this is the one thing that we could think of that would kind of help not only Sherry, but maybe some of the other members too that are included in the software conversion, so.
Isn't that a big deal here that we can put that homestead credit and disabled veterans and explain it to them?
Yeah, I've already, in my quote, I have that I want that inserted in the mailing, and we've already worked up our one sheet on that. So
I think that's bigger than we can, you know, instead
yeah,
of saving money.
I think it will be very efficient way to get the word out on that.
And now we're just waiting to see if we should be putting something in on this. Other
Yeah,
tax credit.
there was a comment yesterday in my discussions that the state may be coming up with a one-page flyer to insert the tax payment
Yeah.
as well, that's where.
I talked to my rep who's actually coming today to talk to me about this, and he said that there is some big print job that they have, and I think it's what you're saying right there, that they're gonna be mailing that out so that we wouldn't have to. Well, I don't know if it's gonna go with the tax statement or how they're gonna handle it, but they're taking care of the cost of that insert at the very least.
The state is?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what it stands, so.
The way I look at it, I'll make a motion, we outsource it, and we're saving money and include those two information pamphlets, why not?
I'll second it.
Mr. Chairman. Yep.
I totally agree. Let's take the lowest bid. Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
I guess we are.
Any further discussion?
I would only have one question. Are we working with the same company that we did before for the estimate?
No, actually, we're gonna do it in North Dakota Forum Communications, and they can do pre-sort plus for postage, so that I think will save us more money on postage too.
Okay,
So now that we have Tyler, we can do it in state. Before with our old system, we had to outsource it according to.
well, there.
Yeah.
Makes you
So,
feel
I
better.
mean, anybody that's, you know, I asked around, like, who should I talk to, where should I get a bid, and everybody was like, they're awesome to work with, and it's so far, I felt that too, so I pray that it goes well.
Any further discussion? No, call for vote, Karen.
Yes.
Christie.
Yeah.
Ernie.
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, I can get you. Okay,
Good, hope that helps.
yeah, thanks a lot.
Well, move on to unfinished business.
Okay, so I received notification that the Edmar Public School, this is their last year. So we have to, Walsh County has a school and annexation and reorganization committee. When I pulled the listing, all of the terms had expired. We have contacted all 5 members and they would be interested in being reappointed, by the commissioners that appoint them. I explained that their term would expire within the 3 years, you know, when it should be done, so they're not all gonna expire at the same time. Every single one of them was interested and would be willing to sit on this board. You guys will choose.
I'll make a motion to reappoint, these,
The slate of
the
candidates.
slate of candidates, a couple of them through June of next year and then June of the following year.
Yeah, if they're willing to do it, let them do it.
Do you need a copy of this, Todd?
I think I have a copy.
Okay, very good.
You sent it to me, right?
Yes, I believe I did, yes.
Okay, good.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. Christie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Ernie? Yes. Myself, yes. Motion carried. Thank you to these guys for doing that.
Yes. Yeah, Chris was helping me with it and within 15 minutes, she had 4 yeses, so it was pretty awesome, yeah. I was afraid it was gonna be another, you know.
That group is usually pretty good.
Yeah, I was very impressed with it.
Can be a controversial group with school closing, that they've done that, but yeah, appreciate those guys doing that.
Absolutely.
We control the mill value.
Okay, so this one, I apologize, you guys, for this. It came to my attention that when I was doing the max levy or the state worksheet for weed control, up at the top, it asks for the max levy limitation, and that I had at 2.5 and they are allowed 4 mills. So when I did my calculations, it was with that 2.5. So with what was budgeted and approved, they were too high, even to have a reserve. So this 2.56 would deplete all of they would have no money in their account at the start of next year. I looked at this bothered me. I couldn't understand why it was like this, and I had Linda from the Association of Counties, we looked at this thing 2 times because it just did not make sense to me. And neither one of us caught this. It wasn't until Brent brought it to my attention. The preliminary figures were 2.88. So he was concerned that we went down to 2.5, which is about $30,000 difference. Because the final was already approved, I wasn't sure what our options were. So I contacted Linda from Association of Counties to find out, since the preliminary was approved at 2.88 and the estimated tax statements went out at 2.88, what is our option here? And she went back to the mills. Actually, we're not approving mills, we're approving the budget. So the dollar amount did not change. So there is no reason why we can't change it up. With a $20,000 reserve starting 2025, then a 20,000 reserve, that would give it a 2.87, which would still be lower than what the tax estimate was. And I just, I don't need a motion or anything like that, and I didn't really need to bring it to you guys, but I felt I had to. It was a mistake on my part. I'll never, ever miss checking the limitations ever again. It was kind of a rush when we were doing it, and like I said, what is the worst part about it to me is that I looked at this a couple times and I couldn't understand why. Didn't even think to check that. So I suppose you guys can decide to stay at the 2.5.
I think we want a little cushion in there.
Yeah, and you guys didn't, but you don't approve the mills, you approve the budget, so.
We just had $192,000 bill come through here.
So,
Well, you don't know next year what chemical's gonna do anything else. I mean, it's a guess. I think we want to leave a little cushion in there.
yeah, so I do apologize to
Well,
everybody, and we put it in the minutes, and I know Todd put it in the paper.
Can I just take a quick look?
Yes.
Inside up, this is under.
culture management.
Leafy spurge. They do an excellent job of controlling, but man, it's a expensive bill.
Tell you what the next new flower should be for the state is taffy.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
We had, okay, so we had chopped some off. He came in with 269, 676. We got it down to 257, 476. But that we're giving him now is
Correct.
the 257, 476.
Yep,
I just
yep,
wanted to make sure that's what we were doing.
yep, the original budget that he gave, presented, you guys did cut off of there,
Yeah.
and that would stand still. So it is the dollar amount that you guys approved at the preliminary would stay the same.
Okay,
Yes,
Cause that was that money that day we were in here cutting all the.
Right, we're cut a little bit off of
Yeah, everybody
several
was-
different line items.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that's. what
yes,
we were
that is,
thinking.
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be the dollar amount stayed since the preliminary was on.
Christie, I think we all appreciate that you were
Sure.
forthcoming with this, and I mean, you had a big job during the budget, and this is a minor issue.
Well, it is, but I'm just glad that there was a way to resolve it.
Yeah,
I felt really bad when Brent came, and knowing that it was my mistake and then now a department was gonna be short, that bothered me, so I'm glad I called Linda and she helped with that, but anyway, so yes, I apologize, but going forward, I will make sure that I'm verifying that every year, so.
well, it'd be nice if those numbers would be locked there for the
I know.
maps, that they shouldn't be able to be changed.
Yeah, well, so it is just a blank form, so it's all custom, so.
So
you
each time you have to put that in.
Yeah, and so that's what took me so long at the end, once I used, the prior year's worksheet, and then I noticed that calculations weren't working, so I had to go and completely recreate it under their template, of course. So yeah, every year it it will be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm hoping that somebody else can help with that kind of stuff.
And when are you gonna start for next year?
In like 6 weeks, no, well, I have.
We'll be done by July 1st.
Oh, yeah, I'm hoping, well, as close as we can, as much done ahead of time as I can. We still have a lot of issues within, the auditor's office, so I might not be able to start till February, but I promise you, as soon as I can, Ernie, I'm starting.
Well, you're months ahead, that's. good.
Yeah, so, anyway, so hopefully that'll resolve some of that stuff. But anyway, so that was that.
ARP and CARES update?
Yes, so with, all the discussions and making sure, fund balances are correct in that, we realize now that the CARES fund, has been exhausted. If, on the first page of that, I have at the bottom, we've continued to use that fund number to pay, all the Tyler bills, but it is as of, the 4th of November. It's over about $30,000, $30,702.57.
Where's that?
Yeah, I'm trying to find this.
I gave it to you guys. I handed it to you guys, the paper. Yep, this morning.
I don't have that one either, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't have
no,
it.
I don't have it either.
Yeah,
Did you staple a bunch together?
yeah. No, I set them all out one by one.
These three here?
Yes, yeah, it's on there. So,
But we're looking for that 30,000.
yeah, so if you turn it over, second page, right there. So
Oh,
on the
here,
second
put
page,
it in
yeah.
something.
Where?
So right there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is, the first page is going to be, so the first front and back is going to be
The
all
back
of
page of
the,
the first page.
yep, back page of the first one, is all of the, everything that we paid, a log of everything we've used that CARES money for. Yeah, so this one here, yep, so on the back of that page, right there is where our balance is, how much has been spent. So it will be over that. There is approximately, I talked with Ed, possibility of about $5,000 more of Tyler money or Tyler bills coming. I also put in there the payroll training of 3 hours that we already have paid for. I did not update that sheet, but the next sheet I did. So we can scratch that 6,000. I'm sorry, 600. And then there is still a pending rebate from, on this page, right here. This is what I'm
Oh,
looking at right
okay.
now. Yep,
When you're looking at
yep,
it.
yep, the back page. Yeah.
These both of them are just, there's, God.
Okay, I even stapled it hoping that that would help, so I'm sorry. But anyway, there is a pending rebate for emergency management for those Motorola radios. Brent expected about $10,500 for that. There is also a possibility of getting a rebate for some items that the sheriff's department purchase too, but I don't have a dollar amount on that either at this point. At a previous meeting, there was a motion that once the CARES money was gone, we would start using the ARPA funds to finish paying Tyler. So I just wanted to keep you guys aware that we will be reimbursing the CARES fund for that. I mean, I think that for now, I'm just gonna move over what we need and then kind of watch as the Motorola comes in, because hopefully it comes in more, you know, and then I'll just pull over what we need to zero it out. So that is where we will, so CARES will be gone. And then on the next page is a detailed listing of all of the Tyler transactions that were paid. So as of today's date, it came to about $224,194.09 for the software. Again, there's a possibility of another 5,000 in bills coming. Ed mentioned that he hasn't received anything in a while, in a couple weeks, so we're not sure. The only thing that I foresee is we have had to pay for additional training. They're charging $190 an hour for 3-hour increments. And I found out that we do not have anybody lined up for year end, how to roll the dates and create 2024 in school. I was told that that was part of the bid, and it sounded like they just have a pot of hours that are allowable. We've used it elsewhere, so now there's yes. So I was disappointed in that, but there are plenty of free webinars that I had a gentleman last night on the phone. They are open later than us, so if I call after everyone leaves, I usually don't have a wait time, so I usually do all of my calling after hours. And he sent me a log of all of these webinars that are free. We will do what we can, but just in case if we have a $5,000 approved balance, that makes me feel a little better if we have to purchase anything else, more hours or whatever, but we will do our best. Jessica from Stutzman County is coming tomorrow and Thursday. I will talk to her about it, and I'm thinking that we should be able to get a lot of information from her. Same with Debbie from Grand Forks County. She has been fantastic the last couple days, helping me with the tax-wise part of it for next year's for the mills and stuff. So I'm hoping, I'm gonna use my resources, but if not, I'll of course bring it to you guys. But sometimes when we call and they ask us to pay for extra training, they want to know right away. So this last time we did text Christy and get it confirmed with her. So if that happens, I think that if that's okay to avenue that way, and then we'll just mention it at the next meeting that we did it, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so that's where we're at.
Todd, did you want a copy? That'd be great.
Yes, I will.
What I'll do with it, but something to look at
Put it
anyway.
in your
File, yeah. Yes, I'll just give you mine. And then the third page is the ARPA funds. We did in August. So I brought this to you guys in July with the balance. In August, we did get another 50,000. So we did earmark that 210,000 for the Agassiz. So that's the first highlight there. I have that 210,000 subtracted from the balance. So the 1.49 million was as of July 26th, assuming we're paying the Agassiz out of there. Then we added 50,000. So we have approximately 1.5 million. The account balance as it sits today is 1.75. But that's because of the Agassiz hasn't come into that. So we will have to move some of that money over for sure. I believe it was like 25,000. So it would be safe to say we'll have 1.5 still available in the ARPA. So this is just more informational than anything, so you guys know where we're
Well,
sitting.
it's nice to know what we got there.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll keep you guys updated if things start coming again or whatever, I'll just give you a random update.
Sure,
So,
yeah.
So that is all I have with that.
Where would we be without all this art done, Caroline?
That certainly helped. Well, we wouldn't have been able to do the mental health.
No,
We would not have been doing legacy.
no,
Well, and look at all the other things, the radio, I mean, man,
Yeah,
wish you could have more, but this is a godsend, there's no doubt about it.
I read software, just.
What gets me is all the hidden expenses.
Exactly.
Well, so far in Tyler, right now, the only hidden expense was that 3 hours of training, right?
yes, exactly, yes.
But moving
But,
forward.
but moving forward. we need
Possibly,
additional-
yeah, and, the gentleman that we, contract, well, the $190 an hour for 3 hours, that gentleman, he has every Wednesday, he has, it's called open office, where you can schedule 45 minutes of free help with him, and he seemed extremely knowledgeable. So that was last Monday, we met with him, and so I was able, he opened up some hours that on Wednesday, so I worked with him for 45 minutes. He's gone this week, but I have scheduled time. He did say that they watch that though. And if you're not paying for additional help, they start wondering why you're using the free service. But because we paid originally, he said that we'll have some leniency there.
Where would you be without the help from Scotsman and Grand Forks?
Oh my gosh.
How many more hours would you be paying for?
Yeah, I can't even put a price tag on that for.
Thank God they're open.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and the fact that Jessica's coming here the next 2 days, it's gonna be, I'm really looking forward to it, so.
And then we're gonna cover her per diem, her room, her mileage.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing is in Grafton, they don't give the per diem, so we had to pay for, and it's just one room, one night. She's driving up on Wednesday and then leaving Thursday afternoon, so, it's just one night, so, yeah, we will pay, I use the highway department's credit card, for that, and then they'll reimburse on my schools. But
It's nice to know that you got backup.
oh my gosh,
Oh,
yeah,
Work
yeah,
together.
yes, absolutely, and when I get stuck on something, I even
Yeah.
on the weekends, I'm texting Jessica and, throwing things at her and, yeah, it's been,
Well, please thank her on behalf of
Yes.
the commissioners as well. We're
Yes.
very appreciative that she is willing to take her time to come up and help.
Look at all the friends you've made in short time.
I know, exactly, I say I have to call or phone a friend, mom's phoning a friend, so. But,
Glad you're able to do that.
yeah, me too.
I've always said it's the best thing about county, state, federal government. There's always somebody out there to help you.
Yes, yes,
A good support network.
yeah, absolutely, and with Jessica, we just jive so well, and I mean, her take and mine, we work so much the same that I don't have, there's others that do things differently, so what she's doing makes sense to me, so it just has been such a natural fit, so. And then Debbie in Grand Forks County, I asked her one question and she sent me 2 screenshots with arrows and how to do it, so it was
Nice.
exactly what I need,
good.
so, yes, so I'm looking forward to getting past all of this and moving on to the budget. So,
Thank you.
yes,
Anything else to be brought before the good of the order? Anything else? I think we've got everything covered pretty well. If not, we will adjourn.